have a particular style when it comes to addressing students. And it works for me. It may not be your style, but I think in terms of the spirit of it, it works very well for me. I call little ones baby, and that's just part of that I think is cultural. Not to mean that they're a little bitty child, but a term of endearment. So I'll tell them, okay, babies, come over here. Why? Because I can't possibly learn all of the children's names in a day. Not going to try. But when I try to endear myself to the children, they tend to respond very well. I call them that inside the class and outside of the class. I call them that in the hallway and on the playground. Older students I refer to as sir and ma'am. Can't possibly know their names. Not going to try to learn them, but I address them respectfully, sir and ma'am. And that seems to work very well. And so when I give respect, I tend to get respect back. As far as eating in the teacher's lounge, there are pros and cons. If you eat in the teacher's lounge, you have an opportunity to meet other teachers. The first thing they want to know is, who are you? That is not particularly your name, but who are you there subbing for? So I might say, I'm Mrs. Jensen today. My name's Alita Polly. I give them a little bit of background. I live in Albany, and I'm a Bobcat. Many of them around here in Appalachia are also Bobcats. They graduated from Ohio University. I let them know that I was a sitting teacher. What I mean by that is that I actually am a certified licensed teacher, had a classroom, and so I know the drill. So that puts me actually in a little different category than a lot of the other subs who merely have a 4-year degree. That's in no way minimizing those who don't have a teaching certificate, but it does lend a little more credibility in terms of what you can talk with other teachers about if they know that you're also a teacher. So having them to know that I'm a teacher, then the first thing I ask them is, how's your AYP, which is annual yearly progress. That has to do with the state report card and how the school is doing with their OATs, Ohio Achievement Tests, and OGTs, Ohio Graduate Tests for high school students. So those are some things that I do. Also, it gives you an opportunity to meet the teachers, and they get a little bit of feel for your style. Are you friendly and outgoing and open? Are you shy and reserved? You should let them know if you're enjoying your school, you know, the experience at that school. You should let them know, wow, this is a really nice school. The kids seem to be really well behaved. I'd like to come back here again. This is a school that I could come back to. When you let them know, then if they are in need of a sub, they very well may pass your name down to the secretary and she can call you. So that's some of the good things of eating in the teacher's lounge. Someone responded that sometimes the principal eats in the teacher's lounge. Very seldom. Usually there's a line of delineation between teachers and administration. That's your principals. So your principals and the secretaries oftentimes tend not to eat with teachers just because teachers don't feel free to talk and grump and gripe about things going on in the building that probably has to do with your principal. So they pretty much stay separated. Not always, but most of the time. Let me put it like this. If you see a principal in the teacher's lounge, that's different. And there's probably a reason for it. I introduce myself to the teachers, as I said before, and I ask if I'm having particular difficulty with a particular student, because I am under confidentiality, because I have a license and am under confidentiality. Oftentimes they'll give me a little insight that this particular student is a special ed student with an IEP. I'm a special ed teacher, so I understand what IEPs are. And so that allows me to treat that student just a little bit differently because I know he or she has some limitations and disabilities. Oftentimes you'll find out more about the teachers And so these are some things that you might want to know. If a teacher's getting ready to go out on maternity leave, if she's taking a FELA, which is a Family Emergency Leave Act, that person may be going out for a period of time and leave a long-term sub position open. That's always a good thing to know. Some of the reasons you might end up in a long-term sub position are things like deployment, military deployment, pregnancy, out to have surgery. There might be an adoption, in which case those teachers can take up to 6 weeks to also have, just like a teacher would if there was a pregnancy. So those are some things you want to know, as well as who might be retiring at the end of the year. And so these kinds of things, interacting with the teachers in the lounge, give you a heads up. Now, what are the cons of eating in the teacher's lounge? You are privy to a lot of information that you may not need to know. And sometimes it's information that is really confidential and really should not be discussed in the teacher's lounge at all by anyone. But that happens, and that's just sort of life. It can be somewhat dramatic, and because you've made a certain amount of disclosure in the teacher's lounge, after you leave, you may be the topic of discussion as well. So you have to make a decision whether or not you want to eat in the teacher's lounge, and your excuse for not doing so could be that you need to read over the lesson plans to make sure you know everything. I always stop by and say hello to everyone. I may or may not stay there for the 30 minutes or 40 minutes and eat lunch. So those are some things that you might consider in terms of sub-protocol in building politics. You have to find out who the allies in the building are, particularly if you're in a long-term sub position. Sometimes you can offend people without knowing it, and those could be the people that are instrumental in making your life good or not good. And these are just the real things that go on in schools, as they do elsewhere. I gave you a quote, and it said, "Actions speak louder than words, but words say an awful lot too." So be careful what you say, how you say it, and to whom you say it. All right. Some of you might have had a previous brush with the law and feel that maybe you're not going to be given a teaching certificate because of something in your background that has to do with some type of a conviction. I'm going to be posting something from another class that I'm teaching, which is Teacher Code of Conduct, which will address some of these concerns. Now, this is not that class in its entirety, but substitute teachers are also held to the same requirements that sitting teachers are held to. So you need to know if you have any type of prior conviction in your background, if you will be given a license. And many times things are looked at on a case-by-case situation. So don't feel disheartened if you smoked dope back in the day. You still may be eligible. There's criteria that you have to take a look at. Today you want to make sure that you take a look at your course documents. I'm going to be posting a couple of things on there, and one of them is, you're a sub, what would you do? This is going to be part of your discussion board for Wednesday. There are 10 questions. Answer them the best way you can. There's really no right and wrong for most of them. Your opinion, how you would handle that. This will be posted on your course documents. Something else that'll be posted is saving face. How Facebook, MySpace, and some of the other social networking sites can get you in a lot of trouble. So we'll have those two posted for your opportunity to look at and review these. Make sure you take a look at the course documents and the announcements this week. You'll be hearing from me again. So until then, please keep up with everything, and I look forward to your responses. I'm really enjoying reading everything that you're sending me. Until then, see ya.